Hey guys, Tommy with Studio Sins here. Welcome to another day and another video. It's another fantastically hot day out here in East Tennessee, USA. Now, wherever you are, I am sure that you have experienced a situation where you've been in the direct sunlight. It's extremely hot. Maybe you've been working outside or hiking or something like that, and you come upon a grove of trees that offers this incredible shade and shadow. And so you step into the trees and you immediately feel revitalized and refreshed. And also, if you're in like a dense forest, you get that smell of vegetation that also kind of fills up your HP. Well, believe it or not, there are fragrances that can actually make you feel that way simply by wearing them and experiencing them, and other people around you experiencing them as well. So here in a moment, going to feature my top 10 shadow and shade fragrances. That and more is coming your way, so stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone. So what is shadow and shade? Shadow and shade simply means fragrances that are green, mineralic, vegetal, or even aquatic vegetal, or a combination of any of those features or attributes. So fragrances that when you wear them make you think of dense jungle vegetation or the color green. Maybe it's a concept fragrance that just smells like green. These kind of fragrances are fantastic summertime fragrances. They make you feel refreshed, revitalized, and they just make you feel good. They're mood enhancing fragrances. So let's go ahead and get into this top 10 list. Coming in at number 10 is a fragrance by Ermenegildo Zegna. It is Zegna Uomo. Now this, unfortunately, is a discontinued fragrance. It's getting harder and harder to find as time goes on. Citrus fruits, bergamot, violet leaf, vetiver, cedarwood. This is a very lightly green, spicy fragrance that is an extremely underutilized fragrance. Nobody really talks about this anymore. You used to be able to find it at rack stores everywhere. Now again, being discontinued, it's getting harder and harder to find, but I did want to include it in this list, and I'll put some links below that you might be able to check out and find a good bottle of Zegna Uomo. Now, not to be confused with Zegna Uomo, which is a completely different fragrance. This is the one you're looking for. Coming in at number 10. Coming in at number 9 of my shadow and shade fragrances that are just green, refreshing, energizing for summertime, is one of my favorite Salvatore Ferragamo lines and fragrances within the line. It is Urban Feel. The thing that made me want to include Urban Feel in this list is it's got such an evergreen appeal. Green, piney, tree, almost like a tree sap that incorporates that refreshing, energetic vibe that I think is lacking in summertime fragrances, and in particular this one really highlights. Great personality fragrance, excellent performing fragrance, really inexpensive. Also has a bit of sea salt, driftwood, ambroxan, a little bit of weight in the background added by the frankincense. Can be used and utilized anytime, but especially during summer. Coming in at number 9, Salvatore Ferragamo's Uomo Urban Feel. Coming in at number 8 is a fragrance by Roberto Cavalli that, when it first was featured, didn't do that great. Like a lot of fragrances in the designer arena, it was incorporated with a similar clothing line that came out that it was supposed to kind of go along with in tandem, but it's a really nice fragrance, especially in the green mineralic arena. It is Paradise Found for Him. Straight out the gate, you get this Jamaican pepper infusion along with some green notes. This has a good bit of clary sage, patchouli, and makes use of cashmere to give it a little bit of texture, and of course ambroxan or ambergris in the base. Overall, a great green fragrance that is, again, underutilized, underappreciated. Definitely check this one out if you get an opportunity. Roberto Cavalli's Paradise Found for Him. Coming in at number 7 is a fragrance that I have truly enjoyed wearing so far this summer, and I always look forward to warmer weather and wearing this, but you can also use this in spring and in those cooler days of spring, kind of summer turns into winter. It's also a great fragrance. It is by Banana Republic in the Icon Collection, number 78, Vintage Green. Vintage Green is just a great all-around fragrance. And what I like about this is it has kind of an old school or old world appeal to it. It's kind of like one of those pictures that's faded around the edges, but it also has a fresh green appeal to it that keeps it smelling very modern. This can be worn by anyone as a unisex fragrance, but I do feel like it leans just a bit more on the masculine side, and that's what makes it a fantastic shadow and shade fragrance for summer. Number 78, Vintage Green by Banana Republic. Coming in at number 6 is a fragrance by Ralph Lauren, not really kind of in the polo line, it's kind of set aside by itself. It is called Ralph's Club. Ralph's Club is not the greatest name for this fragrance, but what I really enjoy about this is the high quality vetiver that's used. in this fragrance. It's really kind of a combination of lavender, clary sage, and vetiver. It's just a really green, semi-grassy, elegant, dry fragrance. There's a good bit of cedar in the heart as well to kind of give it a woody spine, but primarily what you're getting in this is a combination of lavender, clary sage, and vetiver. And that's what makes this so appealing. And again, one of the best refreshing, energizing shadow and shade fragrances for summer. And that's why Ralph's Club is coming in at number 6. All right, guys, we're down to my top 5 shadow and shade fragrances for summer. Fragrances that are mineralic aquatic, or green, or vegetal, that makes you feel like you've just fallen back into this huge pile of energizing, lush vegetation, or whatever visualization that you like to think of. This fragrance is a grapefruit, fruity fragrance. Absolutely. You might be wondering why it's in this list when I tell you what it is. Coming in at number 5 is a Dolce & Gabbana fragrance. It is Light Blue Italian Love. Now, yes, Italian Love is similar to Forever. It is a primarily grapefruit-centric fragrance, so it's a very fruity fragrance, but this one, when it dries down, to me is all tropical green. So it's got that lush green, light vegetal appeal to it, but definitely a conceptual green fragrance. It gets that from a combination of actual literal green notes. There's violet leaf, there's vetiver in here, and there's a great enough amount of that when combined, specifically in the dry down, it makes a great mineralic, ozonic green shadow and shade fragrance for summer. And that's why Italian Love is coming in at number 5. Coming in at number 4 is a fragrance that is a very well-known fragrance for spring and summer in particular, but I always think of an artisanal well, like leaning against one of those old-timey wells that are made of stone, and then you have to like crank the handle to pull up a bucket of fresh water. It's a fragrance by John Varvatos. It is Artisan Pure, very mineralic fragrance. It also has some floral notes in it. There's a lot of things this fragrance reminds me of, but primarily, as in the background, it's just a very revitalizing, refreshing aquatic fragrance. There's a good bit of petitgrain, there's woods, there's citrus, there's iris notes in here and other floral notes that make it just the perfect shadow and shade fragrance for summer. And that's why John Varvatos Artisan Pure is coming in at number 4. All right, guys, we are down to my top 3 shadow and shade fragrances, mineralic, green, vegetal fragrances that are perfect for summer. Coming in at number 3 is a fragrance by Paco Rabanne. It is Phantom, and in this case, Phantom Legion. If you just have Phantom and don't have Phantom Legion, that's fine. It's the exact same fragrance. Legion is just Phantom and camo, basically. You might be surprised that this qualifies as a shadow and shade fragrance that is green, mineralic, and refreshing, but truly that's what Phantom is all about. Even though it's on the cusp of this, they're trying to promote the fragrance using technology. If you take all that technology away, you've got this really nice green fragrance, basically. There's a good bit of rhubarb, clary sage, vanilla absolute, Haitian vetiver. This is a sweet fragrance too, so this isn't necessarily a fragrance you want to use in high heat, but you can go to this fragrance as a reprieve from high heat. In other words, coming in out of the sun, taking a shower, this will be a great fragrance to spray on in your escape from heat. In other words, this is a shadow and shade fragrance that you want to use while you're in shadow and shade to give you that kind of energetic, revitalized green kind of appeal and feel. And that's why Phantom by Paco Rabanne is coming in at number 3. I'm kind of cheating here a little bit because I normally don't try to put 2 fragrances by the same house in a top 10 list, but I really couldn't help myself because this is such a great fragrance and I've come to really enjoy it. It's a brand new fragrance for 2022. It is also by John Varvatos in the Artisan line, but a different Artisan line. It is XX Artisan Teal. Obviously a green fragrance because the presentation is green, but what I love about this is it carries that Artisan Pure kind of DNA in the body of this, only it's just more modern, right? It's just a little bit less old world, and it's got a little bit more of a modern body and appeal. It opens with lemon and rosemary, and combined, it's got a very green kind of zest to it. You've got pink pepper, water lily in the heart, you've got driftwood, sea salt, and musk in the base. One of the best green, refreshing green shadow and shade fragrances for summer, and if you've not given this a try because it's a brand new fragrance, don't hesitate to blind buy it. It's definitely worth the money that you spend, and that's why XX Artisan Teal comes in at number 2. All right, guys, we're down to my number 1 shadow and shade fragrance. This particular fragrance has such a lightly green. It's actually less green than a lot of fragrances in here, but the reason that I like it, it also has a really nice kind of stately woody backbone to it. So not only do you get green and woody, you also get this kind of energetic, revitalizing, slightly sporty feel. And that's not unusual because it is Dior Homme Sport. This came out in 2022, but it was announced in 2021. Dior Homme Sport is one of those refreshing fragrances that if you're getting ready to get into an activity that's going to require you to sweat excessively, this is a great high heat fragrance because there's nothing that will hold you back, that will pull you down, that will smother you or be or feel cloying. You've got a great mix of bergamot, lemon, and some aldehydes in the open there that give it that dry, refreshing appeal. A good bit of pink pepper and some resinous Elamite resin in the base make a perfect blend. Really one of the best, in my opinion, the best shadow and shade fragrance. It's not only refreshing, energizing, but it just makes you want to go out there and accomplish whatever you set your mind to. And that's why Dior Homme Sport 2021-2022 is coming in at number 1 in my shadow and shade fragrances for summer. Actually, you know what? Forget the last several minutes and just take all these fragrances that I talked about, throw them away in the trash, because there's one fragrance that stands above them all. Really, the only fragrance that you ever need in your entire life is the original Pinot Silvestre. One of the most natural green smelling fragrances you'll ever experience. It's literally like being dropped from an airplane in the middle of a dense forest. Wear it if you're brave enough. Guys, thanks so much for your time and attention and checking out today's list. If you own any of these fragrances or have experience with them, let me know what your thoughts are. And if there are other green fragrances out there that I didn't mention that you feel belong in this list, let me know what those are as well. I always like to hear you guys' thoughts in the comments below. Again, thanks so much for checking today's video out. As always, thank you so much for your support on my channel. I'm Tommy with Studio Sense, and I'll see you tomorrow.